I, 34F, joined PowerFit Gym about 6 months ago after my divorce was finalized. I specifically chose this gym because it's on the opposite side of town from where my ex-husband Derek, 36M, and his new wife Megan, 29F, live. I wanted a fresh start and a place where I wouldn't accidentally run into them. For context, my divorce from Derek was messy. He cheated on me with Megan while we were married, and they got married literally 2 months after our divorce was final. I've been trying to move on with my life, which includes getting back in shape and focusing on my mental health. Everything was going great at the gym until last Tuesday. I was finishing up my workout when the front desk manager, Jennifer, pulled me aside. She looked really uncomfortable and said she needed to tell me something. Apparently, on Monday, a woman claiming to be my sister-in-law had come to the gym asking questions about my membership. This woman, who I now know as Megan, told Jennifer that I was going through a hard time and that my family was worried about me because I'd been acting erratically. Megan told Jennifer that she wanted to know what times I usually came to the gym so she could coordinate with my schedule and make sure someone was checking on me regularly. She also asked if I'd been coming to the gym consistently or if I'd been missing sessions, because apparently my family was concerned about my mental health. Here's the part that makes me furious. Jennifer actually gave Megan information about my gym schedule. She told her that I typically come in around 6 p.m. on weekdays and 10 a.m. on weekends. She also confirmed that I've been coming regularly and seemed perfectly fine and friendly. Jennifer said she only realized something was wrong when Megan started asking more detailed questions, like whether I'd been talking to other gym members or if I'd mentioned anything about my personal life. That's when Jennifer got suspicious and told Megan she couldn't share any more information. But the damage was already done. Megan had gotten my schedule and confirmation that I was a member at that specific gym. When Jennifer told me all this, I was livid. I asked her why she would give out my personal information to anyone, regardless of their claimed relationship to me. Jennifer said she thought she was being helpful because Megan seemed genuinely concerned about my well-being. I told Jennifer that Megan is my ex-husband's new wife, not my sister-in-law, and that there's no way my actual family would send her to check on me. I explained that I joined this gym specifically to avoid my ex and his wife, and now they knew exactly where to find me. Jennifer looked horrified when she realized what had happened. She apologized profusely and said she'd make a note in my file that no information should be shared with anyone claiming to be family. But I told her that wasn't enough. I said the gym had violated my privacy by sharing my membership information and schedule with someone who had no right to that information. I told her I was considering legal action because their employees' actions had potentially put me in danger. Jennifer tried to calm me down, saying it was an honest mistake and that they'd learned from it. She offered me a free month of membership and promised to retrain their staff on privacy policies. I told her I'd think about it, but I was still planning to speak with a lawyer. Since then, I've been getting calls from the gym's general manager trying to schedule a meeting to resolve this matter. He's offered me 3 free months of membership and a personal training package if I agree not to pursue legal action. Here's where I might be the asshole. My friends and family are split on whether I'm overreacting. My sister thinks I should just accept the gym's apology and free membership, especially since nothing actually bad happened. Megan just got my schedule information. But my best friend thinks I should absolutely sue, because this is a clear violation of privacy that could have safety implications. My mom thinks I'm being vindictive and that I should just find a new gym instead of making a big deal about it. The thing is, I don't even know if I have a viable lawsuit. I just want the gym to take this seriously and make sure it never happens again to anyone else. But I also feel like they violated my trust and privacy in a way that could have put me at risk. So, am I in the wrong for threatening to sue my gym over this privacy violation, even though no physical harm came from it? Update 1, 5 days later. Thank you for all the responses. The overwhelming consensus was NTA, and many of you encouraged me to follow through with the legal consultation. I'm glad I did, because things have gotten much worse since my original post. First, I met with a lawyer on Friday. She reviewed the situation and said that while I might have a case for invasion of privacy, the damages would be difficult to prove since nothing physically harmful happened to me. However, she said the gym clearly violated their own privacy policies and possibly some state regulations about sharing personal information. She advised me to document everything and see if the gym was willing to settle out of court for a reasonable amount, plus a written commitment to change their privacy policies and retrain their staff. But here's where things get really messed up. Megan has been using the information she got from the gym to show up where I am. On Wednesday, I was at the grocery store when I turned a corner and literally ran into Megan. She acted like it was a complete coincidence, but this grocery store is 20 minutes from where she lives and right next to my gym. There's no way she'd normally shop there. Megan was overly friendly, asking how I was doing and saying she'd been worried about me since the divorce. She said Derek had mentioned that I seemed to be struggling with the transition and that she wanted to reach out to make sure I was okay. I told her I was fine and tried to end the conversation, but she kept pushing. She said she understood that the divorce had been hard on everyone, but that she hoped we could eventually be friends since we'd probably be in each other's lives for a long time. The whole interaction was incredibly uncomfortable. Megan acted like she was being kind and concerned, but everything about it felt calculated and intrusive. Then on Friday, Megan showed up at my gym during my usual workout time. She walked in around 6:15 p.m., right in the middle of my typical workout window that Jennifer had told her about. Megan was wearing brand new workout clothes with the tags still on them, and she spent about 5 minutes at the front desk asking detailed questions about membership options. But she kept looking around the gym while she was talking to the staff, obviously looking for me. When she spotted me on the treadmill, she waved enthusiastically, like we were old friends. I immediately got off the treadmill and went to find Jennifer. I told her that the woman who had impersonated my sister-in-law was now at the gym, clearly using the information she'd obtained to track me down. Jennifer looked panicked. She said she'd call security and have Megan escorted out, but I told her it was too late. The damage was done. Megan now knew for certain that this was my gym and had seen exactly what equipment I use and where I work out. I left the gym immediately and went straight to my lawyer's office. I told her about both incidents, the grocery store and the gym, and she said this elevated the situation significantly. My lawyer said that Megan's behavior could constitute stalking or harassment, and the gym's role in enabling it made them potentially liable for any harm that might come to me. She drafted a formal demand letter to the gym, asking for $8,000 in damages, a written apology, proof of staff retraining on privacy policies, and a commitment to ban Megan from the premises. The gym's manager called me within 2 hours of receiving the letter. He was much less friendly than before and said they were taking the matter very seriously. He said they were reviewing security footage and would get back to me within 48 hours. Update 2. 2 weeks later, the gym settled for $6,000 plus retraining their staff and banning Megan from the premises. But Megan's stalking has gotten much worse. After she was banned from my gym, Megan started showing up at other places. She appeared at the coffee shop I go to every Saturday morning, claiming she was exploring new neighborhoods. She was at the farmer's market I frequent, saying she'd heard good things about the vendors there. Each time, Megan acts like these encounters are coincidental, but they're clearly not. I realized she'd been following my social media posts to figure out where I go regularly. My Instagram account was public, and I'd been posting stories with location tags. The most disturbing incident happened last Sunday. I was having brunch with friends at a restaurant we'd chosen spontaneously that morning. Halfway through our meal, Megan walked in alone and asked to be seated at the table directly next to ours. She spent the entire meal trying to insert herself into our conversation, making comments about things I was saying and asking my friends personal questions about me. My friends were visibly uncomfortable, and one of them finally asked Megan if she was following me. Megan acted shocked and hurt, saying she was just trying to be friendly and that it was such a coincidence, running into me so often. She said she was just trying to build bridges and hoped we could have a better relationship. After Megan left, my friends were really concerned. One of them said Megan's behavior was creepy and obsessive, and another said I should call the police. I did file a police report, but the officer said that unless Megan threatens me directly or violates a restraining order, there's not much they can do. He said coincidental encounters, even if they seem suspicious, don't constitute criminal stalking unless there's proof of intent to harass or harm. However, he did recommend that I document every encounter with photos, times, and locations, in case I need to build a pattern of harassment for a future restraining order. I immediately made my social media accounts private and removed location tags from all my posts, but the damage was already done. Megan had months of information about my routines and favorite places. Update 3. 1 month later, Megan's behavior escalated, and I found a threatening note on my car at work. The stalking continued even after I made my social media private. Megan started showing up at my workplace. I'm a marketing coordinator at a mid-sized company downtown. She didn't come inside, but I spotted her sitting in her car in our parking lot on 3 separate occasions. When I pointed her out to my coworkers, they confirmed they'd seen the same woman hanging around for several days. My boss was concerned enough to increase security and asked the parking lot attendant to keep an eye out for anyone who seemed to be loitering. But the really scary incident happened 2 weeks ago. I was leaving work around 6 p.m. when I found a note tucked under my windshield wiper. It was handwritten and said, "I know you think I'm following you, but I'm just trying to be a good person. Derek is worried about you and thinks you're not handling the divorce well. I'm trying to help, but you keep running away from me. We need to talk soon so I can tell Derek that you're okay. If you don't want to talk to me, I'll have to ask Derek to reach out to you directly, and I don't think either of us wants that." The note felt like a threat. It was basically saying that if I didn't submit to Megan's stalking and harassment, she'd sick my ex-husband on me too. I took the note straight to the police, and this time they took it more seriously. The officer said the note could be interpreted as threatening behavior, and that combined with the pattern of following me, I might have grounds for a restraining order. I filed for a temporary restraining order against Megan, and got it approved. The hearing for the permanent order is scheduled for next week. I also called Derek to tell him what his wife was doing. He claimed he had no idea Megan had been following me, and said he'd never asked her to check on me. But he didn't seem particularly surprised or concerned when I told him about her behavior. Derek said Megan can be a little overprotective sometimes, but that she means well. He promised to talk to her about leaving me alone, but I could tell he wasn't taking it seriously. Update 4. 6 weeks later, I got the permanent restraining order against Megan. The judge was clearly disturbed by the pattern of stalking behavior and granted a 1-year order requiring Megan to stay at least 500 feet away from me, my home, my workplace, and any location where I'm present. Megan showed up to the hearing with a lawyer and tried to claim that she was just being friendly and that I was overreacting because I was bitter about the divorce. But the evidence was overwhelming. The gym incident, the multiple encounters, the note on my car, and witness statements from my friends and coworkers. The judge said, "Ma'am, friendly people don't follow someone to multiple locations, lurk in parking lots, or leave threatening notes on cars. Your behavior constitutes stalking, and it stops now." Megan looked shocked when the judge issued the order. I think she genuinely believed her behavior was normal and that I was the problem. Since getting the restraining order, I haven't seen Megan at all. It's been incredibly peaceful, and I finally feel like I can go about my normal routine without constantly looking over my shoulder. However, I did receive one concerning message from Derek about a week after the hearing. He texted me saying that Megan was really upset about the restraining order and that I was causing problems in their marriage. Derek said Megan had been asking him questions about women he dated before me and seemed paranoid that they were all going to cause trouble for their marriage too. He said she'd been going through his old Facebook posts and asking him to explain photos with female friends. I immediately forwarded Derek's text to my lawyer and told her that it suggested Megan might have obsessive behaviors toward other women in Derek's life. My lawyer said that if Megan violated the restraining order, or if Derek helped her contact me, I could have them both arrested. Update 5. For months later, Megan violated the restraining order and was arrested last month. Derek finally realized how serious her behavior was and filed for divorce. About 6 weeks after our hearing, I was at a work conference downtown when I spotted Megan across the street from the hotel where the conference was being held. She was sitting on a bench with a clear view of the hotel entrance, obviously watching for me. I called the police immediately, and when they arrived, Megan was still there. She tried to claim she was just enjoying the nice weather and that it was a coincidence, but the officers pointed out that she was clearly within 500 feet of me, which violated the restraining order. Megan was arrested and spent the night in jail. At her hearing, the judge extended the restraining order for another year and warned her that any future violations would result in longer jail time. The arrest seemed to be a wake-up call for Derek. He called me a few days later to apologize for not taking Megan's behavior seriously. He said he'd started paying attention to her actions after my restraining order hearing and realized she'd been exhibiting concerning behaviors that he'd previously dismissed. Derek told me that Megan had been going through his phone regularly, demanding explanations for any contact with female coworkers or friends. She'd also been driving by his ex-girlfriend's house from before he met me and had asked him detailed questions about every woman he'd ever dated. Derek said he'd initially thought Megan was just insecure because of how their relationship started, with him cheating on me, but the arrest made him realize her behavior was beyond normal jealousy. Derek and Megan separated 2 weeks after her arrest, and he filed for divorce last month. He said he couldn't be married to someone whose behavior put other people in danger. The restraining order still has over a year left on it, but I'm not worried about Megan anymore. She's dealing with legal consequences for her actions and seems to have bigger problems to focus on than harassing me. I'm doing well, still going to the same gym, which now has excellent privacy policies, dating someone new, and no longer afraid to live my normal life. This experience taught me to trust my instincts and stand up for myself when someone crosses boundaries.